coach, Kim Mulkey, fresh off a big-time week, getting some revenge last Thursday, 71-66 against Auburn at home, then hitting the road to Tennessee. Tough-fought battle. Take him down, 75-60. Coach Mulkey, what's going on now? Top 10 in the country. How we feeling?
Well, I would say we are winning some ball games, man. We got a few more to close this thing out. We got to go to Georgia tomorrow and play them on Thursday and come back for senior day and play those Kentucky Wildcats and then wait for the 17th to see where the NCAA – well, then we got conference tournament. I always seem to forget about conference tournaments, but you're always looking forward to the NCAA. But anyway, the 17th, the NCAA will announce the pairing.
Coach, I want to talk about Angel Reese, just named National Naismith Player of the Week. 15 boards in 3 straight games, 25-20 against Auburn, 11-15 against Tennessee. I think it's her 7th time I read that she's gone for 25-20. And I was interested to hear your your comments. I believe this was post-Auburn where you were asked about Angel, and you basically said, look, she has been practicing her ass off, right? Like it's been a different speed, just like refuse to lose. You remember what Auburn did to y'all the first time. My question is, when it comes to like a star player like an Angel, how do you approach practice with her, right? Like, is it feasible for her to keep up that pace, whatever she showed you in these recent practices? Is that feasible over the course of a season? Or is it a situation where you have to accept that there's going to kind of be ebbs and flows?
Well, I think anyone that's coached with me, T-Bob, will tell you when they describe Kim Mulkey. In fact, it was on the video from Leon Barmore on my 700s or whatever I won this year. And he said, Kim, you're one of the greatest practice coaches I've ever been around. And so I think what he means there is I don't let players just slouch around and half-ass it in practice. You know, you're going to play like you practice. Now, I'm also very smart as I don't wear them out. I don't do drills to hurt them or put them in situations where we go for long periods of time. Go hard the amount of time we're out here, and the games will be secondary. And I think all great players, I shouldn't say this, but it's probably true, all great players figure that out. And through the course of a long season like we have, I think sometimes they try to just go through the motions, and it'll irritate me, and I'll challenge them because it is a long season for us. Yeah. I mean, you start in October, and here we are. You know, we don't finish until April if you make it to the Final Four.
True.
But there becomes that last month where there's a sense of urgency when you are a senior. You are going to take that uniform off for the last time, and you guys know this. There's no worse feeling than that. When you take it off for the last time, you never, ever put it back on. Now, she'll go play pro ball, but there's something about it that just resonates, and you don't have to motivate them. You don't have to say much. And I think that's where we are with Angel. She realizes it's winding down here. None of us hope that she leaves, but because she does have another year. But we all understand she came to us and said she only wanted to be here till she graduated and wanted to play 2 years. Same thing with Haley Van Lith. She said, Coach, I want to come learn the point guard position and play for you for 1 year. And we'll recognize them on Sunday for the game as being seniors. But she really took it really to heart before we played Auburn. And she was just killing it in practice. Like, she's just so physical. And, you know, it just makes us better when she's playing and practicing like that.
Coach, you mentioned Haley Van Lith there, and obviously the last time out, she had a great game. I mean, she scored 26 points. She had 7 boards, 3 assists, and 0 turnovers. To have her playing like that as you get ready for the most important part of the season, what's it been like the last couple of games to kind of see her coming to her own? I know maybe a little bit of more off-the-ball situations for her.
Let me say this about Haley. I don't do social media, guys. Y'all know that. But I get information from coaches when I need to, and they just talk a lot about how Haley takes a lot of grief from people, you know, and being in a new position they don't give her much understanding. So I'm going to use this analogy. Football guys, you two are. Was Jayden Daniels the same player this year that he was last year?
No.
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't have won the Heisman Trophy his first year here, but then you go and you do what you do this year. It's called learning the position. Now, he's been a quarterback, but just look how he had to learn a new system. So that's what I talk about when it's with Haley. I don't see anybody else volunteer to play point guard other than Poa. So when Poa goes in the game for us, which is her true position, it allows Haley to go back to the All-Stars. And against Tennessee and against some of the other teams, when I have had Poa on the floor for long periods of time, it's allowed Haley some freedom to play her natural position. Now, a lot of her stuff against Tennessee that she did well was when she was playing the point. And so that's why I was very proud of her. Certainly we needed the 26 points. No coach is crazy enough to say that's not necessary. It was necessary against Tennessee, but the most impressive stat to me was the minutes that she played, almost 37 minutes, and she had 0 turnovers. That's like playing a football game and you don't have a quarterback have any interceptions. And so it was just a good day for her. It was good for her personally. It was good for us as a team.
Well, and the timing of it seems to be fortuitous, right? Like, Coach, you're someone who, when it comes to this time of year, you have proven over time that you know how to get the stars to align and get the most out of your teams when it matters most. What is the secret sauce behind consistently kind of peaking here in March?
Well, I think it's experience. I've been down this road before. I think it's something that young people appreciate. Maybe some people don't outside of that locker room, but I'm a straight shooter. And if straight shooter's going to tell you what you don't want to hear, they're not going to belittle you. They're going to put you in that film room and they're going to say, this is what you have to get better for. This is what you got to get better at if we're going to go very far. And you've got time to fix it. And a lot of people don't want to hear the truth because they can't handle the truth. I think I have a way to communicate with each of them individually, but especially in a film room when they all can hear it. I think you take it to heart, and it's a tough love type of thing that doesn't start at the last minute. You build upon it throughout the year, and then you make sure along the way it's just natural for me to cut up with them, laugh with them, pat them on the back, wink with them, talk trash with them in the game. They feel me.
Yeah.
And I think it's something you either have as a coach or you don't have. People know when you're fake and people know when you're real. And I think the timing of all those things adds up. And then you make sure you're not afraid to make adjustments. Listen, I took Angel Reese out of that game at Tennessee, guys. Angel Reese.
Yeah. In
the middle of a tough game. And, my son and everybody else, he goes, I've never seen a coach like you, Mom. He goes, you just pull the trigger. You don't get too high. You don't get too low. You stay emotional and intense, but you make decisions in the heat of the battle. And Angel needed to come out at that time. And it wasn't necessarily that I was upset with her. She was frazzled. She couldn't score a bucket. She needed a breather. And it also allowed Leah to grow. Leah goes in there and gets an and one. And so it's just decisions that you make. And I think what scares me the most about our profession, not just basketball, but just our profession, guys, is young coaches are afraid to make tough decisions for a lot of reasons. And I'm not afraid to make a tough decision. And maybe that's my age. Maybe that's I've got skins on the wall. Maybe it's my personality. I don't know. But all I'm trying to do is win one more game and make that kid better.
And that's very interesting, because if you're a young coach and you have an Angel Reese, you may actually end up bowing to the player a bit in that scenario. But obviously with your experience, your resume, like, you bow to no one. Coach, can I ask you a question that's kind of outside of basketball? And if it's not like relevant at all, you're like, you can just tell me whatever. But there is a story in the paper this morning about kind of re-envisioning the PMAC and making a new kind of arena that would be, restaurants and all these like multi-purpose, this real nice kind of haven for everything to live in. And it's being pushed forward by LSU Athletics. Do you have any thoughts on the current state of the PMAC and where you kind of like to see it go?
Now, you're asking me my thoughts, or are you asking me the factual statements? I'll be glad to share it with you. I read it as I was sitting in Hammond at Southeastern at the state tournament. Someone goes, "Oh, wow, look what's in the paper." And so I read it, and I read it again. And that's the first time that I have seen that article. I have heard, things throughout on what they're trying to do. Now, in my perfect world, like if you just sat down and we had all the money in the world in Kim Mulkey women's basketball's perfect world, you build a basketball arena for men's and women's basketball. And you don't have all that entertainment because I want my own locker room. I don't want to go to a locker room and they've left a guitar in there from the previous concert. I don't want to walk in and have to get dressed at the old PMAC and go into a new arena, and that's not the feel. But here's what's happening in our profession. Moody Coliseum at the University of Texas does the same thing. They are downsizing the huge arenas to 10 to 12 to 13,000, which I'm good with. But they are having to get private investors and companies and people to have that as a multi-use facility is what it sounds like to me. And then they build around it, whether it's hotels or restaurants or whatever. That seems to be the new thing in order to get it paid for, it sounds like to me. Now, I'm speaking personally. I'm not speaking on behalf of LSU. They have not set us down. But here's the last thought I'm going to give on that, and I gave this answer to one of the people who sent the thing to me, the article last night. I said, I'll be on the beach or dead by the time that is finished.
That is the kind of what we talked about as well, is like our faith in the speed of the project is not necessarily the highest either, Coach. So. And I don't mean that ugly, but let's get real. Yeah. If you sat down today with investors and builders, how quickly are we talking about? No, you're right. You're right, Coach. It was kind of the core conceit of like our first two segments of the show. We're kind of discussing that, like how much belief do you actually have in a vision like this coming to pass, much less in any sort of reasonable time frame, given it's Louisiana, and we. But here's the thing I am proud of. At least this is a step to recognizing we need a new one. Now, here's the question that you probably have discussed, and I will just say it out there. Is it really going to be a new PMAC? If we're keeping the old PMAC, you're going to name both buildings PMAC? I haven't even thought about that. I have no idea. The PMAC is the PMAC. It sounds like it's not going anywhere. It may be renovated and some new places some new offices put in there. But you can't have two PMACs. So what's the new building going to be? Is it going to be a corporate sponsor name? Is it going to? Who knows what it's going to be? I don't know. Before the KMAC. The KMAC. There we go. The KMAC, Coach. How about that? There you go. But here's the deal. Where are you going to put it? And people have said they're potentially going to put it where the track is. Well, by gosh, let's get that man a new track. Shavers won some national championships. He's got to compete with Oregon, who has state-of-the-art facilities. So let's start talking about on campus. You're going to move that across the track, the softball and baseball? Well, where? Let's get that moving. Natatorium. I went in there and spoke to the swimmers before their last meet. They need a new place. So let's take care of those people first so we can get that new facility over there. But here's what I will say for you two and your children and me. I do think it'll get done before I die, and it certainly will get done before your kids get to LSU and can enjoy it. How's that? There we go. Hell yeah, dude. Coach Kim Mulkey, the legend, the KMAC, coming soon. There you go. Relatively Y'all be good. Soon. Have a great one, guys. All right, you have a great day, Coach. Thank you so much. The legend.